Today, I'm off from work and I've been off from work for a week. And this is normally the time that I grow a beard and enjoy what I consider the most wonderful time of the year. Growing up, Christmas has always been my favorite time and the time when I get to relax, spend some time with family, and do something which I also like is trying to figure out, what investment opportunities out there for me personally. But as I said, I am not a financial advisor. Please, this is just for entertainment purposes. But what I want to do is just give a view on how I look at things. And who knows, maybe this is just something that you could see, you could say, you know, does it make sense or not? No problem. So basically, for me, this is just a typical view that I go in. I like to look at um, the first four items. I really focus on the first three, but for me, the symbol spies and ETF, which kind of represents the S&P 500, and you know, I like to look at it because when someone says the market is up or down, they really are talking about S&P 500. So I like to look at to see how it's moving, up or down or that. Then the Dow tends to have older companies. I am not such a big on the older companies. Um, so I tend to just have it there to kind of get a view of things. But QQQ is Nasdaq, kind of representative of Nasdaq 100, and that kind of gives you more concentration in the tech companies and the ones that people are most excited about. Then there's a Russell 2000, IWM, which looks at the much smaller companies. So I tend to look at all of these as to say how is the market going, and I am sometimes in the market for some time, like weeks, months, and that. And I normally set a profit target for myself and that. And guys, listen, as I said, I'm not an investment advisor. I'm just kind of letting you into how I view the market. And this is just for purely entertainment purposes. I'm off on holidays 2 weeks, and I have a full beard now, and I'm enjoying myself. And this is just something to share with you, and maybe of use or not. But what's big for me is, as I said, I look at SPY. SPY is something that I keep looking at to see where the market is headed and all that. One of the biggest contributors to SPY is Apple. Apple is outsized in its impact in SPY. And I tend to look at the market cap, and you'll see this column here, the market cap, and the market cap is $2 trillion. As you can see, it's by far the largest stock here, and all of these here below are supposed to be in order of market cap below. So I look at Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet. Alphabet is actually Google, and Amazon, and JP Morgan. I like JP Morgan because it's a very, it's I think it's the best US bank. That's just my opinion. Then I look at Tesla. I've never actually bought Tesla, but I've always just watched it to see how it looks and everything. Nvidia, another company which I think a lot of people like. Meta, which is really just Facebook and Instagram, and that. And this is a stock that is really beaten up. Like it's totally destroyed. And it's something that I'm keeping an eye on. Netflix also. And one of the things I like to say is, do I utilize these companies? Because for me, if I am looking at an investment, I normally say, do I utilize it? Do my friends utilize it? And that's always a big thing for me. Like Apple, everyone I know has some form of Apple thing. I even was chatting with someone. They had an Android phone, and I said, do you have any Apple products? And they're like, yeah, I have iPads and an iMac and that. So that's it. Microsoft, like all workplaces everywhere use Microsoft, right? So Excel, PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, that's just the standard of business. And then Google, come on, if you're watching this now, you're on Google because YouTube is on Google and that. And so these are like the type of things that I look at and kind of, take a little dive on. But one thing I wanted to talk about with the market now is this item, which is let's share this tab. So this item, which is the treasury yield, the treasury yield is now 3.88%. That's important. If I was someone who was retired and I said, hey, I have, I retired well and I had $2 million. Let's say I had $2 million and I retired quite well. Earlier in the year, I would, it would not be great for me to just have it on treasury yield because it's not earning that much. Back then, if I look at it, it was way down. I think treasury yields at the start of the year were 1.5. So that person who had, $2 million, the most they could have gotten out of that $2 million is 30,000 a year. Now they're up to $77,000 a year. Now this is big because when you think of investment decisions, if someone can get $77,000 a year and a $2 million, um, you know, retirement sum, that person may be very risk adverse. And that I think impacts the market. And that impacts the market a lot. And I think that that's where we're seeing a lot of pension companies, pension funds, a lot of different things jumping out of the market because of the fact that, they can get a better deal just, putting their money in a risk-free asset. So that's one of the things that, you look at and you can see why the market might be down. And, I wanted to do another look also at Tesla. And I wanted to look at it not from the viewpoint that, you know, as competing with these other companies, but I also wanted to look at Tesla as looking at it in comparison to other car manufacturers. And one of the key things I found with Tesla was that if I look at Tesla compared to all the other car manufacturers, Tesla actually has the highest market cap of the bigger ones, right? So Tesla is more valuable than Toyota, it's more valuable than Volkswagen, Mercedes, you know, Bayern Motoren is actually just BMW, General Motors, Ford. So it's more valuable than all of them. Tata Motors, a lot of people don't know that Tata Motors actually owns Land Rover and Range Rover and actually Jaguar. So Tesla is an extremely highly priced or valued company. Even with the big drop that it has had, it is still highly valued. And one of the things that I want to look at, and I'll do more on this, is look at the PE ratios of the other companies. And when you look at the PE ratios of the other companies, it shows that Tesla has like a forward PE of 20.5. And it's almost double the nearest, which is Toyota. And that's part of the things that I think people are evaluating when looking at this stock. And it has gotten beaten up over the last few weeks or months. And one of the things that you look at is, when I look at the the cars that Tesla has, there's some nice cars. But one of the things that I think people need to be very careful of is you have companies like Mercedes coming out with nice cars themselves. This is the 2023 EQE. This is an all-electric vehicle, and Mercedes is entering pretty strong. And these are different things that I do think that will be considered. And one of the things I wanted to close off with was a quick look at this economics, right? In economics, you have something called supernormal profits. And that's what Tesla has today. They have supernormal profits. But the thing with supernormal profits is that, other firms will be aware of this, right? If there are no barriers to entry, and they'll be encouraged to enter until the market price falls back down to normal profits. And that's one of the things that I look at when I see, people ignoring the Volkswagen Group. The Volkswagen Group actually has all these brands under them, like all of these brands. Like this is not this is a significant company. Audi themselves is pretty they have a whole bunch of line of vehicles, and this is where I do see potentially where some strong entrances into the electric car market. But anyhow, I just wanted to share with you guys, how I view the market. As I said, none of this is intended for any investment advice. I mean, this is just intended just to show you how I look at the market. I just wanted to show you guys how I just kind of take a look primarily at the key market ETFs, and just to see how the market is going, because that gives me a good indicator of it. And then I look below it to see the larger companies there. So I just wanted to give you that overview of my thoughts on the market. And I'll do more, and next video I plan to do related to this is actually on Bitcoin, because I do think that there's a pump going on with Bitcoin, and I really do want to cover that, because I have seen a lot of things that are happening which I'm not comfortable with, because it just seems a lot of people are pumping things, and I don't know how ethical it is for them to pump Bitcoin like that. So something I plan to do in the future. But guys, I'll leave this video up for a little while, and it's just, I said, and just showing you how I actually look at the market from my point of view. And as I said, not meant for investment advice. Thanks, guys.